The year 2026 is the year that we embrace a new definition of success. In today's little coffee chat, we're talking about how internal fulfillment and not external validation reshapes our lives. About how internal metrics like growth, joy, creativity, and connection can cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment, far more than any conventional achievements ever could. If you're new here, my name's Melissa, and I'm on a quest to make a YouTube video every month of 2026. This is video number 4, but without any further ado, let's dive right in. What if everything you thought you knew about success was actually not true? If you've ever chased promotions, likes, follows, or any other kind of external validation, you're absolutely not alone. And I've definitely been there too. And in some ways, I still am. So I think it's time that we redefine what it means to truly thrive, to get off of that hamster wheel and focus on genuine joy, growth, and connection. Because, and we did touch on this in a previous video, it turns out that a simple shift in perspective can make your life feel a lot more fulfilling and authentic. Let's start by discussing what I like to call the mirage of conventional success. Now, I want to preface this by saying that there are people who thrive within the conventional model of success. They work their 9 to 5, they get promoted, they make bank, and they are so happy doing what they do, and that is fantastic. But there are countless others, like me, and perhaps like you, who that model just doesn't work for. We work hard to achieve all the same things, and at the end of the day, we feel empty and unfulfilled. That lifestyle really isn't for everyone, but often it is expected of everyone. And this doesn't just apply to work, it applies to things like social media too. We hustle to get the likes and the follows, and at the end of the day, when we do achieve that, it doesn't mean that much, and we move on to the next post. Now, if you relate to either of these situations, I'm in no way qualified to tell you what to do about it, but I can tell you what I've been doing about it, what I call recalibrating my internal compass. Here are my 5 steps. Step 1, shifting the focus from external to internal. From what do others think to what truly lights me up. Now, this can be pretty challenging because the contemporary media landscape does a great job of telling us what we should like and what we should want. But do we really want a labubu? Or does everyone else want a labubu and we just don't want to get left behind? Sometimes what lights us up isn't the same thing that lights up our partners, our friends, or our family. And as long as it's not something harmful, that's totally fine. One thing that can help guide step 1 is step 2, identifying core values. Learning, creativity, connection, and inner peace became my core values. And when you're feeling indecisive, thinking about how your choice falls into one of those core values can be a great tool for guiding you in the right direction. Being self-employed, I've spent a lot of time thinking that I should be working harder or longer to keep up or to compete. But framing my leisure time as an investment in one of my core values has made my unproductive time feel not that unproductive after all. Step 3, de-influencing trends. This means consciously opting out of trends that promote comparison and superficiality, which is, honestly, in this day and age, not as easy as it sounds. If you spent more than 5 minutes on social media, it's hard not to get caught up in all the noise, especially when it can feel quite isolating being outside of those trends. But that's why it's never a bad time for step 4, curating the media you consume. Cleanse your social media profile to prioritize inspiration over aspiration. Be mindful of who you're giving your attention to online. Are they encouraging you to be better, more creative, to learn something? Are they someone you're actually friends with in real life? In which case, that time you're spending on social media could be promoting real connection. If the accounts that you're following are not improving your life in line with your core values, then what's the point anyway? Just my opinion. And step 5, celebrate small wins. You got up and made your bed today? Amazing. You went to the gym? You go, diva. Sat down and wrote a script for that YouTube video you've been putting off? Well, I'll pat myself on the back for that one. There's always something to celebrate, and even the tiniest celebrations can make a tough day a little bit less tough. Okay, so those are my steps, but none of this is a one-time thing. There are a few steps that take continuous effort. They are joy audits. The pressures and expectations of the world out there are not going to stop just because you've decided to follow your own path. So making sure that you're not succumbing to those pressures is continuous work, and checking in with yourself to see if what you're doing is bringing you real joy or if you're just doing it because social media told you to. It's going to be a continual process. Cultivate intentional community. Surrounding myself with people who inspire and uplift rather than compete has been one of the biggest game changers. It's made such a difference in my feelings of satisfaction and fulfillment. And although it takes work, it's absolutely worth it. Mindful consumption. Investing in experiences that promote personal development over material accumulation is going to fill up your heart and not your house. But again, this is something that one constantly needs to work towards. One of the hardest parts about choosing a slightly different path is navigating the doubts and detours that come with it. There is always a quiet fear of being left behind, watching other people hit conventional milestones while you're walking on a completely different road. Often it can make you feel like you're doing something wrong. I've repeatedly have to remind myself that success doesn't look just one way, and it's not on a timeline. So just because my path looks different doesn't mean it's delayed or wrong. I've also had to learn to differentiate real feedback from noise, and not to internalize every opinion that comes my way as truth. And maybe the biggest lesson is that this isn't something you can just solve once. Confidence, clarity, direction, they're not destinations. They're things you revisit, rebuild, and refine over and over again. It's an ongoing process and not an arrival point. So, long story short, I've started thinking of success not as something that looks impressive from the outside, but something that feels stable and sturdy on the inside. When I feel internally fulfilled, that is, in line with what I'm building and why, it makes the biggest difference. I'm calmer in my relationships, less reactive, less anxious, and focused on building genuine connection. And that fulfillment, I think, creates a ripple effect. And my definition of wealth has changed too. It's not only focused on money and material objects, but on a wealth of experiences, connection, and, it sounds cheesy, but inner peace. That kind of wealth is far quieter, a lot less flashy, and a lot harder to communicate a lot of the time, but it does feel a lot more real. So if you're on the same page and you're thinking of redefining success for yourself, maybe start with this. What actually makes you feel joy and energized? What really lights you up? What makes you feel grounded? And most importantly, what would your life look like if you stopped chasing what everyone else was chasing and started chasing what felt genuine to you? Well, if you actually made it through all my rambling into the end of this video, let me know in the comments. I'm so glad that we're busy doing this together. I wish you all the joy in the world as you follow your true path and find genuine fulfillment. And I guess I'll see you in the next video.